A common problem with movie trailers is that they basically spoil the entire plot of the movie. At first glance, the Jurassic World Dominion trailer didn't do that, but after having it on repeat often enough to claim a significant percentage of the total view count, I think I've pieced most of it together. Hello everyone, it's been 24 hours since the release of the official Jurassic World Dominion trailer, and I think it's time to analyze it and to answer the question, what does the trailer tell us about the plot of Jurassic World Dominion? I suspect more than you think. Spoiler warning? Obviously, this is all theory and inferences, and there are still some gaps in the genome, if you will, but I could very well be accidentally spoiling surprises for you because I think I have a pretty good idea of how the events of the movie play out. But you can be the judge of that at the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 100,000 strong. I've rearranged what we see happening in the trailer in what I think is the chronological order, and just like how the trailer starts in the snow with Owen herding Parasaurolophus, I also think that's how the movie starts. Him, Claire, and Maisie are living a relatively peaceful life. They live in the cabin, mostly off-grid. It looks like Owen helps with the capture of dinosaurs in the area, kind of like subcontracted by the DFW, who we know is tasked with rounding up the wild dinosaurs. But living in that area is Blue and her baby, and Owen doesn't want them to get captured. He is shielding them because he knows nothing good will happen if they do get captured. I think how he's handling the Parasaurolophus and how he's looking at the dinosaur here shows that he's conflicted about the whole capturing dinosaurs ordeal. He might have questions about where do they go and how are they treated. The thing is though, in spite of Owen's best effort to protect Blue and her baby, they do get captured, at least the baby. In this scene, we see the baby, named Beta according to some toy approach a dead fox. What she doesn't realize is that it's a trap. What happens is she triggers the trap and gets scooped up in a net that was hidden under the snow and gets pulled up into the air. We see Blue looking up at her, not leaving her baby, and behind her a truck approaches. This is a different truck from Owen's, and I'm guessing these are poachers looking to illegally capture and sell dinosaurs outside of the authority of the DFW, and they've possibly been specifically instructed to go get either Blue or her baby by the baddies of the film, which we'll get to later. So Beta gets taken, and not just Beta. I'm also suspecting that Maisie gets wrapped up in it somehow and that she is also kidnapped. So either she tries to intervene and gets kidnapped for her troubles, or the poachers specifically came to take Beta or Blue and Maisie because perhaps they know she is a human clone. Either way, Maisie has to get taken for her to get sucked into the rest of the plot, since no sane adult would let her tag along, and I would hope that they don't rehash the stowaway plot point from The Lost World Jurassic Park. Blue might have also been taken, just because if not, the movie will sideline her for the majority of the runtime, but because there are no concrete clues pointing to her being kidnapped as well, I'm going to leave her out of it. This does mean that Blue has a relatively small on-screen presence. Owen and Claire somehow find out that Beta and possibly again Maisie have been taken, and of course they make it their mission to save them. Alternatively, only Beta gets taken at this time. Owen and Claire leave Maisie alone in the cabin to go save Beta, and at that point Maisie is kidnapped. But regardless at which point it happens in the timeline, I do think Maisie gets kidnapped because she is a human clone. Through some sleuthing, I'm guessing Owen and Claire track Beta down to a dinosaur black market in Malta, and they travel there meaning to intercept and save her. However, as always in a Jurassic World Jurassic Park film, shit hits the fan, everything goes awry, and the assets, as Claire liked to call them, escape and wreak havoc, which stands in the way of Owen and Claire being able to rescue Beta. In the aftermath, they meet Kayla, and Kayla, I think, is a smuggler who flies illegal operations for the dinosaur black market. She either has some really good reasons, or she's actually doing some good in that role, in that function, but just based on her ratty plane, which reminds me of drug smuggling planes, I think that's her role in the movie. And she knows where Beta has been taken because she's done jobs relating to this before. So Claire and Owen enlist her to chase after Beta and, again, probably Maisie. Kayla will be flying them to this super secret facility. The location of this facility I'm still torn on, and I'd love to hear your take on it. I can see it going three ways. One, it's located on Sorna. We know Sorna will be featured in some capacity, and some of the environments match Sorna very well. The snowy landscape we see could just be snowy because of the altitude, and while I don't think Sorna's known geography makes that realistic, the franchise has retconned issues like this before, hoping nobody would notice, so I'm not going to dismiss that possibility. I think it's totally possible that Sorna does have a mountain peak high enough to have snow, within the context of this fantastical franchise. It could also be located on the island from Camp Cretaceous. Colin Trevorrow did say Camp Cretaceous would have an obvious tie-in with Dominion that makes it clear the two take place on the same timeline and in the same world. This island has several self-contained biomes, so that would explain snow in one place and swamp in another. I don't like that, but it would explain a lot. The third, and I think least likely option, is that it is a location currently not already significant in the franchise. Just a place somewhere. But because it is the final installment of this era of the franchise, I suspect they would go somewhere that has established significance. For that reason, I'm going to assume for the time being that the facility is located on Sorna. The reason I think Kayla has flown this route before is because of how she reacts to the Quetzalcoatlus. She's very mellow about it, like she's encountered it before. Owen is all like, "That's not a plane, right?" And she responds kind of matter-of-factly, "Not exactly." So I think she's shared airspace with the Quetz before, only this time it doesn't go her way. It doesn't go very well. The plane gets attacked, it goes down and crashes by this facility in a snowy environment. Because we see that Claire has ejected and is getting attacked by pteranodons, I think she lands further away from Kayla. Claire actually lands in the swampy environment that we see her in later, and she's on her own for a bit. Owen and Kayla have their Pyroraptor adventure, which is probably nothing more than an action scene inserted for the sake of action and to be an inconvenience and to separate them from Claire for a little bit longer, although the facility in the snowy environment is already not supposed to be there, of course, which hints to the mystery going on and the expanse of the operation there. The two track down Claire in the swampy environment, they save her from the Therizinosaurus, and then all three of them push on towards the facility. Now, let's go back in time, not 65 million years, but just go back in the timeline of the movie, because while these three are going from point A to point B, we have another threesome uniting and going to the same facility, namely Ellie, Alan, and Ian. I think Ellie gets pulled into the plot by something she realizes during this scene with the locusts. I can't quite decipher what that might be, but something here triggers her to seek out her old pals and take action. So she goes to fetch Alan, who is still digging up dinosaur bones, as he does, and Ian, who is someplace important, giving another speech about how screwed we all are. I can't figure out the mechanics, but these three get flown out to the secret facility, either through connections that Ellie has, or by shaking enough trees that they get contacted by, presumably, Biosyn, who runs the facility, and they get flown out there, under voluntary or involuntary circumstances. It's a hyper-modern facility, and this is a hyper-modern helicopter, so those two obviously belong to the same entity, and I think Alan's with Ian and Ellie at this point while he's on board this futuristic helicopter. The three of them just aren't all in this same frame. This facility is where the two separate storylines and separate casts merge. And that makes sense. The old cast and the new cast meeting for the first time and appearing on screen together for the first time is a climactic moment that the movie will want to build towards. So this will happen in the second half of the movie, in the final location of the movie. So now we have all our characters in this one location, including Maisie and Dr. Wu. Maisie has been taken to Dr. Wu possibly because as the only human clone, her DNA is some sort of key that they need for their research. research. This is Maisie right here, and I also think this is Maisie's shoulder, so she's with Dr. Wu in his lab at the facility. The screen Maisie is looking at is very interesting. I've watched other YouTubers analyze the trailer, and I've seen nobody else figure out what we are looking at. For example, in Clayton's video, he theorized that it had something to do with the Brachiosaurus due to this lettering right here. But it has nothing to do with the dinosaurs. I actually instantly recognize this as the BRCA2 gene, or BRCA2 gene, depends on how you want to say it. This gene is a natural cancer suppressant that we all have. Same for the BRCA1 gene. However, some people have a mutation in this gene that stops it from fixing cells as it should, and as a result, these people have a significantly higher chance of developing cancer. It's a pretty big deal, especially in relation to breast cancer research and prevention, so I've heard about it before. Clearly, what this screen is showing, thanks to the color coding of red and green, it is a simulation of a bad or mutated BRCA2 gene being replaced with a good cancer-suppressing BRCA2 gene. That's what Dr. Wu is focusing his research on right now. The dude is basically out there trying to cure cancer, which totally solidifies what we've suspected for a while, that he will get a redemption arc, because curing cancer is like a get out of jail for free card. He's probably doing this unbeknownst to Biosyn, who just hired him to create more dangerous hybrids, but he's refusing because he's had a change of heart and he wants to use his godlike powers for the benefit of humanity. By the way, I'm assuming Biosyn is the baddie here running this facility. We know they will return in Dominion, and based on their corporate espionage from the past, I'm expecting them to be the antagonist entity in this film. Now, I can't figure out what Biosyn's objective is. The movie is setting them up to be, I'm guessing, the biggest manufacturer of dinosaurs, which is obviously already a bad idea, and they're also collecting the wild recaptured dinosaurs, which have been captured by the DFW, possibly under false pretenses, and I'm guessing they also have a connection with the black market as well, which is how they gain possession of Beta and how Claire and Owen get pulled into their evil master plan. I just don't really understand the evil master plan here. Why do they need all these dinosaurs? Potentially it is just to sell them on the black market, but whatever their motivation is, obviously they must be stopped. So the entire cast, old and new, is in this facility, and this is where they meet, but also where they split off in different groups. We see Owen and Claire separating, and I'm guessing Owen goes to get Maisie and Claire goes to get Beta, and while apart, Claire runs into Ellie and Owen runs into Alan and potentially Ian. Once more, shit hits the fan and stuff escapes. I think part of the facility explodes and causes like a forest fire, which explains the damage we see later. And this leads to the final encounter with the Giganotosaurus and the Dilophosaurus. These two dangerous dinosaurs have probably been kept contained at that facility, and they have escaped during the madness and the chaos that ensued. In the end, Rexy comes in to save the day, as she always does. That has become her role in the franchise, because remember, the DFW was going after her earlier, so I'm guessing they successfully captured her and brought her to this location so that, for the sake of the plot, she could have her rematch with the Giga and this time come out victorious, unlike what happened in the prologue. If you're familiar with my channel, or if you play Jurassic World Evolution 2 yourself, you know the campaign for that game ends very abruptly, most likely to avoid movie spoilers. In the campaign, the player works for the DFW, collecting the dinosaurs and housing them in different small parks across the Northern Americas, and as the player you work alongside Claire and Owen. At the end of the campaign, Claire says,
"This park, this isn't the dinosaur's final stop, is it?" "No, of course it's not. How could it be? It's too dangerous to have these animals this close to civilization."
I think this hints at the DFW taking all the dinosaurs, at least the dangerous ones, to this remote facility from the movie. Because she says this line in a ominous tone, not all happy knowing that they're going to get taken to some sanctuary someplace. So I think this little clue from the accompanying game confirms that the DFW is relocating these captured dinosaurs to this facility here. At the end of the movie, the facility is in shambles, but Beta and Maisie have been saved. The dinosaurs that were kept in the facility escape all over Sorna, which I'm guessing is fine. It's a contained island, so that's okay. Beta, however, gets to come home with Owen, Claire, and Maisie and is reunited with Blue. The reason I think Blue and Beta get to live close to Owen and Claire's cabin is because in this scene, we see their truck in the background. Clearly, they didn't drive that to Sorna or some other far remote location. The fact that there's no more snow on the ground is probably to show some passage of time. Perhaps it took a while to convince the powers that be that Beta and Blue should be allowed to just live with Owen and Claire in that area. And this might actually be one of the final shots of the movie. I think the movie is going to end with some shots of dinosaurs still out in the wild but living peacefully, and others safely contained on Sorna, like Rexy. And that is what I think I was able to figure out about the plot of Jurassic World Dominion from just this trailer. If you think I could be close, give the video a like, that helps me out a lot. Let me know in a comment down below what you think of all of this and what your own theories are. If you want more Jurassic World Dominion content, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the hype!